Hey guys, Pulse here for another episode of Delving Deep ESO. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about the armor, weapons, and the skill line system being implemented in Elder Scrolls Online. Now let me just jump right in at the armors. First and foremost, I have to say that I like the way that they're implementing the armor and that you can pick and choose what you like, but I'll get into more detail about the real implications of doing that after I go over each armor type. So first off on the list is light armor, which is the typical mage fare. It's cloth robes and that sort of thing. It's going to enhance your magicka bar by giving you more of it. It's going to lower magicka costs on spells which utilize magicka, and also boost spells in some ways, perhaps more damage, maybe even cooldown reduction. That would be pretty cool. Next is medium armor, which is the leather and that sort of thing. This is the armor type that's going to increase stamina, lower stamina costs, and is supposed to aid stealth, but also considering that this is really the armor type that is normally in conjunction with the hunter and the assassin playstyles, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some maybe critical hit chance or critical damage boosts on this armor type as well, but that's really up for speculation. Next is the heavy armor, which is, this is the plate mail, and as expected it adds tons of health, and its defensive stats, that sort of thing, make you tanky as hell, but it's also rumored to maybe provide maybe health regeneration or maybe more healing like gain from other players or something like that, and also maybe melee combat boost. I don't know exactly what that could entail, but I would imagine maybe since you are in the front lines, there could be a boost to just pure melee damage on weapon strikes maybe. But now that I've kind of gone over them, they're really sort of bland in this context. But as I said at the beginning, you can mix and match your armors as you like, and really what this game is going for is they're trying to incentivize going down all of the armor, like filling all your slots with one armor type, I should say, because it's been said that if you put, like, each piece will provide a boost, and so if you have a full character of, say, medium armor, there will be boosts, there will be enough boosts to maybe satisfy your needs as a stealthy character. But you could also go the other way, and if you want to play a character, just for example, if you want to play a character like an assassin which utilizes magic, which the Nightblade is supposed to be something like that anyway, maybe you could find that the way you like to play really harnesses this system, and so you can put 2 or 3 pieces of light armor alongside your 2 or 3 pieces of medium armor, and if you even see fit, maybe sprinkle a heavy armor. It really depends on the stats in your playstyle, and you can just pick and choose each piece. Now, the only real worry about this system is that you'll have people coming out looking like clowns, so hopefully there is some good cosmetic work going on here with that, but that's really not important, especially for this video. So I just wanted to say I'm glad to see the armor system being utilized this way, because a lot of games have gone away from that. I know WoW, not too long ago, I guess it's been a couple years now, removed the ability to do so because they couldn't balance it right, so I hope that does not happen here, because this is a big sort of selling point for what ESO can do. Now onto the weapons. Now this is a little interesting because from all that I can tell from speculation and leaks and that sort of thing is that the weapons are not going to be one by one. It's actually set up into sets. So for example, we have two-handed weaponry, and every kind of weapon under that sort of branching and broad termage will be like the great swords and the great axes, maybe great hammers and that sort of thing. All of those weapons will fall underneath this sort of term, and then each weapon will kind of have its separate thing. So you'll have a two-handed weaponry skill line which will go for all of them, but there will be slight deviations and differences between the weapon of choice. So I've actually heard someone say that if you pick, for example, I'm pretty sure this is just random speculation, just based on sort of reality, that if you pick a two-handed greatsword, it might do quicker strikes compared to, say, like a hammer, if there is such a thing in ESO, and that kind of thing. So that's pretty cool, and I like the way they're doing this, because I was kind of worried that with that many skill lines you would just have too many skills that were too similar and they would have different names just to say that they were different. So I'm kind of glad to see and hear that they might be doing this sort of bundled up and more straightforward system. So that's pretty cool. But like I said, the two-handed weaponry, it's really the one that goes for huge weapons, enormous blades and axes, and used to destroy foes with one blow kind of thing. If you like to smack the hell out of people with one big attack and then laugh at their corpse, this is going to be the one for you. And there's also kind of this thing going on because of what we know, that two-handed weaponry might be the only sort of skill line that provides people the ability to cleave. Because this is not going to do like a Guild Wars 2 style combat where if you hit all the, like, you can't just swing your weapon and randomly hit enemies. This is going to be a more target and focused combat system. So cleaving is not going to be something you can just do by accident. It's going to take skill, and from what we can tell, it's just going to be through two-handed weaponry. Hopefully that changes, or we hear some more about that. That would be pretty cool to hear about. Next up is one-handed plus shield. Now this is really they only put, from what I understand, they only put one-handed there to make sure that you're not just using a shield and nothing else. This is going to be the shield skill line. It's going to boost your abilities to defend yourself. This is going to be the go-to for the tanks and that sort of thing in this game. And it's going to be a nice sort of mix between, I'm sure they're going to, because of the way they're designing this game, I'm sure they're going to put it so that maybe if you really want to, you could build your character to use a one-handed and a shield and still be quite offensive. I'm sure we'll see that. That would be pretty cool. But this is definitely going to be the one for the tanks, I'm sure. But I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that are into that. I mean, who doesn't like bashing someone's face in with a giant piece of metal or like half a fence worth of wood or something? That seems pretty badass to me. And next up I have listed here is the dual wield. And like I said before, it's kind of this branching term. So all the weapons that you would expect to dual wield in test games are going to be under this. And that includes daggers. I kind of expected daggers to be different because they are known to be quicker. They're the stealthy weapon, but I kind of feel like they're going to be under the dual wield. They're going to be, since I've heard that they're going to be branching off separately, I just imagine they're going to give daggers more crit chance and that sort of thing. So this is going to be the pretty obvious one. It's going to be dual wield swords, maces, axes as well, I'd imagine, and daggers. And it's going to be the ones for really up in your face offensive fighters, low defense, high attack speed, that sort of thing. Next up is the bow, which is, this is the, just as you would expect, the long range sniper archetype for a fantasy setting. Archery is by far the most popular way to play in Skyrim, as far as I know. It's the go-to. So hopefully they tweak the soft lock system a little bit so that it's a worthwhile experience to aim and hit your target, because that's definitely why people like taking archery, because they like to line up that shot. They feel badass. So hopefully that's done well with the bow, but it's going to give you the skills you'd expect, long range attacks, and it's going to, I'm sure, give you some like sort of long range CCs, that sort of thing. Really typical skill line, but still cool, because like I said, what makes the bow different is the way that you have to aim the spell compared to other MMOs. Next up is the Destruction Staff. Now this one is a little bit different from the others in that they didn't just put staves under one sort of roof, I'll say, because of the way that they've done this system. But I'll get to Restoration Staff in just a moment. That's the other version of the staff. Destruction Staff is going to be the elements, that sort of thing. And not too long ago they did reveal that it wouldn't be just you get Destruction Staff and you'll just get fire, that there will actually be elemental ties. And from what I can tell and speculate, we're probably going to get something like this where you have a fire staff, which will probably be overall more higher damage potential and chance for a burn kind of thing. We'll get a frost staff, which will be more consistent damage compared to the fire, and that it won't be so waving on the damage charts. It'll be more consistent numbers, and it'll provide a slowing effect, so kind of a CC there. And then the lightning staff, it's going to be, I'm sure, because they always do this, lightning is almost always put with higher crit chance, and it's almost always paired with stunning, like on crit or that sort of thing. So I'm 99% sure that if we have a lightning staff, it's going to be sort of higher crit chance, and a stun potential on proc or on crit chance kind of thing. Lastly, like I said before, the restoration staff. This is the only way to heal in Elder Scrolls Online if you don't count the one skill line Templars have. Now, the restoration staff is going to provide players with a multitude of ways to heal allies, but ZOS has already been saying multiple times for a long time now that this game is not going to have hit the mole kind of healing styles. It's going to be a lot more AoE. It's going to be sort of area targeted. The other players have to be aware of where you're doing it. I'm not really sure how well this is going to go over, because there are some people that, especially the hardcore MMO players, that they don't like the ability to AoE over a single target unless there is a reason and coordination involved, because what happens is if you have a player not paying attention to where you place the lingering AoE, that player will die and then the player is blamed, the healer I should say. So we'll see how that goes over. And also AoEs have a tendency, if they're overpowered, they'll be used all the time and keep people up. And since there's no single target spells here, how are AoE healing going to be balanced? Because otherwise you're either going to have your whole team stays up since it's an AoE, or your whole team dies since it's an AoE. So we'll see how that goes. I'm interested to see how that's balanced. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a couple more single targets. In fact, thinking about it, I'm pretty sure that the normal ability on the staff, with your left mouse button that is probably just going to be sort of a channeled single target spell. That maybe that's like your filler spell in terms of MMO sort of combat there. It'll be your filler non-AoE healing. And finally on the list, I put this here because I'm the most excited about it after the bow, I should say. I like the bow as well. But this one is really interesting to me, is runes. Now, they mentioned this ages ago, and we haven't heard about it in forever. I can't remember the last time they talked about it. But it really was supposed to be their take on wands. And the way they explained it, it kind of gave me this vibe of Guild Wars 2 elementalists that use daggers. Anyone that's familiar with the game will know that sort of dagger elementalist, as it's called, used these weapons in close proximity compared to the other weapons in that game. So it was a very like high risk, high reward, super mobile kind of play style, and that's kind of how they were explaining the runes. Now, it probably wasn't going to be as mobile as that, but we don't really know. And it sounded really cool to me that there would be sort of these gloves, because it wasn't supposed to be wands. This was like maybe gloves, or these runes maybe tattooed on your hand in some way, and it was going to let you cast spells in similar fashion to, say, Skyrim. So it was going to be sort of a more up close and personal magic user type weapon, and that was really cool to me. I hope that they haven't scrapped it, because it's been such a long time. I'm worried they've cut it, because that sounded really cool to me to do like up close and personal. I'm a sucker for the high risk, high reward play styles, so this sounded really cool to me, that I could go like let me say light armor, medium armor hybrid with runes, and sort of be a up in your face magic user. That sounded really badass to me. But from there, really all we have to talk about is the skill lines as a whole. Now, as mentioned above about the weapons and the armors, the game has this skill line system in which every weapon and every armor has these skill lines, which levels separately from your own character. Your character gains levels through play, your weapons and armor gain levels through play, and your skills, in fact, gain levels in a way. Like, for example, for the class skills, I believe this is only where this is going to occur, but I could be wrong on this. If you level up a certain skill line for so long, you'll get to certain skills which, if you've used enough and you utilize for long enough, you have a chance to level them up and branch them out into 2 or 3, maybe even different spells. So the tree of skill lines is actually branching out a little bit in that respect, but it is much more straightforward. But you have a huge list. I mean, for example, we have all of the ones listed above. We have a light armor, a medium armor, heavy armor, one for each of the different types of weapon sets kind of thing. We have a racial skill line for each race, and then they've said it depends on who the interviewee is. It says potentially 3 to 4 PvP based skill lines. They haven't really been clear about which is that, but either way, 3 to 4 PvP skill lines. And then there's the guilds as well. I didn't even mention these guilds in the fact that the two going to be in the game right away are the Mages Guild and the Fighters Guild. Those two are confirmed to be in the game at launch, and then there's going to be more guilds like the Dark Brotherhood and that sort of thing are going to come in the future, and those guilds are going to have skill lines as well, which if you're keeping count is a lot already. And then we have the Vampirism and Lycanthropy skill lines as well, where you can be a werewolf or a vampire in this game. Now there is some mutual exclusivity here. I mean, the werewolves can't be vampires, obviously, and I believe they've said that you can only be in one guild at a time or that kind of thing. But the point is, I mean, if you've been counting at all here, I made sure to take note of this, that it's at least 39 skill lines in this game between all of the different races, classes, the guilds, and that sort of thing. All of these together is at least 39 goddamn skill lines. That is ridiculous. I mean, for all of the things ESO has kind of done wrong in my eyes in the way that they've not shown any footage, Zenimax, I should say, not releasing any footage or anything like that, and keeping NDA so hard, that's kind of deterred me away from following this game. Anytime I go back to thinking about the skill line system and how they're implementing that, I kind of get excited again, because it's really the big thing going for this game. The 3 faction thing, whatever been done, I think that's cool, but that's not the kicker for me. That's whatever. The number of races, the lore, all of these things that are good are not keeping me the way that this is. This is going to be the real thing that keeps me watching this game till the end. So unless they really screw it up somehow, I can definitely see myself playing this game whenever it comes out, sometime in 2014. And really, guys, that's all there is to it. If you have more questions on the skill lines, make sure to ask, and I could even go into more depth if you'd like. This has been Pulse. We've been just going over some ESO. Thanks for watching, and come back next time for more gaming coverage and ESO in this case. See you later.